Hey there and welcome back to Storytime. So I just finished recording the first part of this and I decided, hey, come on, why not do the second part of it right now as I'm in the mood of talking. So yeah, we're back at the story where I was editor-in-chief. So the last time I stopped with the part where we actually earned money. We got new computers, we got new software. I think the software was called PageMaker. It was basically the best printing software there was back in the day. Today you have Adobe Illustrator or how's it called, Adobe InDesign, for example, but we used PageMaker because it was just the state-of-the-art software back then. And it was amazing working with that. You know, you could just, the page numbers, you could include them automatically. I think the Word version we had back then, it couldn't do that for some reason or whatever. I have no idea, but we could do so much stuff automated. Oh, you could actually use templates, and Word couldn't do that properly. You know, in the earlier versions of Word, it couldn't do that properly. Now it's no problem. But back then it just couldn't, so you could use templates. That was just awesome. So yeah, I started doing designs for the school newspaper and it actually looked pretty good, if I am to compliment myself. It just looked pretty good, it looked better than the old one. And as I said, we had more pages. I think on the last edition we actually got the maximum pages possible for the kind of way the thing was printed. You know, there was this limitation. We could only have 80 pages for in that way it was printed. You couldn't do more. If you exceeded those 80 pages, it would have been a book, and we didn't want to print a book. So yeah, it was just a regular newspaper kind of thingy. So the maximum number of pages was 80, and we actually reached that with the last edition we ever put out, or the last issue, whatever you call it. So yeah, and working on that newspaper, it was sometimes cool, but sometimes it was just so freaking horrible. For example, we had this weird, risky kind of plan that there was only one guy in the whole school newspaper redaction. Is it called redaction? No, it's not called redaction. You know, the editing guys, the editing staff. I have no idea how to call it. But yeah, there was only one guy that was actually able to work with PageMaker and to, get all the stuff into there, all the articles into it, and make it into a version that could be printed by the printer that we had employed to do it. And that guy was me. So if I fell out, if I went sick or something like that, there was no way that anyone could have finished that school newspaper. And that was just horrible, but of course I never got sick, and I basically never get sick. That's actually a cool thing, but whatever. So yeah, it never happened, but it was just very risky. And the thing was, we wanted the articles to be as fresh as possible. We didn't want to have an article from, I don't know, January in June or something like that. So we issued, I think it was four editions in the end. It was 4 editions for the whole year. So every 3 months there was 1 edition of this school newspaper. And that was a huge thing, as I said in the previous video. Before that, we only had 1 issue per year at best. And now we had 4 issues a year. So this was just a huge thing, and of course it took a huge amount of time to do it, and you had to write so many articles and get them all at the right time. And yeah, there's the second risky thing we did. Of course, we always set a deadline. We said we need this 2 weeks before, I have to arrange it all into the program and make it able to be printable. That sounded so wrong, but whatever. So yeah, we set that deadline, but no one ever kept that deadline. So in the end, it always came to this one point where we only had 24 hours left to get that thing right in time. Because every time we wanted to release, the new issue of this school newspaper, there was some kind of special event like Easter, for example, or Christmas. So there was a very tiny time frame where we had to do that. And as I said, it was always 24 hours to get that thing done, from 0 to completely finished. And that was just, oh my god, it was so horrible to do that. I didn't sleep at that time. It was sometimes I was just awake for 24 hours and I would constantly work on that thing. I would basically sleep at school. So I would stay at school at night. It was so weird. It wasn't even allowed, but hey, no one ever found out. So yeah, whatever. So, oh my god, it was working. And you know, I ate at school, I had lunch at school, I had dinner at school. It was, oh my god. As I said, I basically lived at school for a couple of days. Every time we had to put out a new issue. And of course, I missed a lot of my classes in that time. But it was okay, because if you were part of the, you know, the staff for that school magazine, you could actually get free classes. So it was actually kind of cool. And as I was the editor-in-chief, I could always get a free class. And the funny thing was, I could actually get people out of their classes if I needed them, or if I told the teacher that I needed them. So many pupils joined the staff. And of course, they always asked me if I could get them out of a class they didn't like. And sometimes I did it because I wanted to be a nice guy. But whatever. So yeah, oh my god, it was just so it was tiring to work for that, but it was basically the best time I had in school ever, because it was just so much fun to do it. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it was a little bit because of the power, because you have some kind of power if you are working as an editor-in-chief. But that was not the reason. I just enjoyed doing that newspaper, and every time we, you know, came out with another edition or another issue, people would be very happy about it. They would actually buy it, and you know, they come up to you on the, how's it called, the playground, not playground, whatever, you know, the schoolyard, whatever. They would come up to you and they would tell you, this was a great edition, you did great, I really like this or that article, and the cover, it's just cool, and wow, how did you come up with that idea, and the design looks awesome, and it was just cool. Basically, it's like doing YouTube, you know. So it was my beginning of, you know, being a content creator, basically. And I really loved that time. And I think that's kind of the reason why I'm doing YouTube now, because it's the same experience. It's just online. So many more people. I actually have less people I have less subscribers than I had, you know, people reading my school newspaper, but that's a completely different story. So yeah, working as an editor-in-chief, it was a great time, and I would do it again every time. I would actually love to work for a real newspaper now, but it's very hard to get jobs there in Germany. It's almost impossible. Only if you know someone that knows someone, basically, or I don't know, if you have years of experience, but you can't get experience without being experienced first. So let's just, whatever. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this story, and maybe, I don't know, give me some hints on what kind of stories you would like to hear, because I wouldn't want to make 50 episodes in total, and I just can't come up with that many stories. You know, they're all real, but it's hard to, you know, remember the stuff from your life if you don't think about it. So if you have any kind of topic, just leave it in the comment section below, and maybe I can, you know, find a story in my life to talk about that. It's just as an inspiration, if you want to call it like that. So yeah, as I said, if you have something like that, leave it in the comment section, and of course rate the video if you enjoyed it. This really helps me out. And that was it for this week's episode of Storytime. 8 minutes again for a second part. That's not bad at all. I think this is even longer than the first part. I'll have to come up with cool gameplay for that. But yeah, that was it for Storytime, as I said, for 2 or 3 times now. I'm so horrible at finishing videos. Whatever. So I am iLostLink, signing out.